Jupiter is a planet that is often associated with luck, big luck. And why wouldn't it be? It is the biggest of the major planets in the zodiac. It is bright in the cosmos, undeniable in its presence. And when it is standing still in the sky, like Jupiter is right now, well, he is closer to the Earth than he might otherwise be and heightened in his significance. It is going to be this Tuesday, March the 10th, that Jupiter standing still in the sky will officially begin to go forward. Whenever it is that a planet is changing directions, that is when it makes itself known more than just about any other time. Its symbolism is magnified, and Jupiter's symbolism, while it is of luck, we don't always know what is actually a lucky break. And sometimes if we're lucky, we see it in hindsight. But this isn't an ordinary Jupiter stationary direct, but Jupiter is standing still in the sign of Cancer, where the ancients believed that Jupiter was what they called exalted. It is the sign that it most loves to be in. But not only that, of all the zodiac, the 360 degrees in the sky, it is the 15th degree of Cancer that represents the single degree that Jupiter most loves to be in. And that's exactly where Jupiter is going direct now. Regardless of how it looks on the surface, whether it looks like it's luck or not, I am telling you what is happening right now is good. For the highest good of all concerned, certainly, but good for us in our own individual journeys. Now, sometimes what's good is the endings. Some situation comes to a close, or we make a choice that it is only going to be years from now we realize set the stage for even bigger blessings to follow. Even if it feels hard in the moment, it is going to be that we ultimately do come to see how our great fortune was in our own choices, what stayed, what left, and where there was some karmic cleansing playing out. That is the power of the energy right now. But Jupiter is also philosophical, as much as it is about the collective and what we believe and how our beliefs can be manipulated to suit some higher aims. At the same time, Jupiter is hope. Jupiter is optimism. And Jupiter is an energy that says belief, philosophical belief, and the things that help us to make sense of the world and guide our life. Those subjective truths, well, we are going to feel very connected to them. They're going to feel very on the surface, which means that as we are moving through our lives, we just might surprise ourselves by whom it is, especially where it is we ourselves find ourselves feeling and looking at things very philosophically and getting in touch with our own personal truth. The key to this time is don't take anything personally. Like, that's a good rule to follow in general, but especially at a time like this, whatever other people are doing, it is so important to stay focused on self. Stay focused on an understanding of who you are and what it is that you are understanding to be true about you. That really is where the power is. And with Jupiter, that's also where massive blessings can find us now. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of March 8, 2026. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. You are legend, awakening the myth of your life. It is a series of workshops on each and every sign that I'm teaching over at synchronicityuniversity.com. Learn more, sign up now, links below. I grew up watching episodes of Rod Serling's Twilight Zone, an old black and white series from the 50s and 60s, renowned in its symbolism and science fiction and nuances, layers of commentary on social issues of the time. Which is why I also now like the show called Black Mirror over on Netflix. It feels creepy at times with how insightful it can be and how it can speak to social issues of today. It makes me understand how people from the 50s and 60s probably felt really freaked out, really creeped out when they watched those episodes of The Twilight Zone. But it is this Black Mirror series that features an episode called Men Against fire. And in this episode, we see soldiers, and they have these chips implanted in their brains. And their task is to hunt down these roaches. Well, what happens is one of these soldiers, that chip in their brain, it starts to glitch. And they come to realize that it isn't roaches that they are chasing after all, but rather these are people. People who might look different, people of a different status or social understanding, but human nonetheless. Once it is that this chip starts to glitch, he realizes humanity. And ultimately, that awakens his own humanity, his own understanding of what's actually going on. As I look at the sky now and I consider some of the events that have played out, not just in recent memory, but even in a larger sense, so often, so much of the time, what allows awful things to happen in the world, what allows atrocities in the world, and people to perpetuate those atrocities is a metaphorical chip in their brain. Whether that chip comes from their conditioning, their childhood understandings, from propaganda, from messages they're getting through media, it all kind of adds up to the point where there are certain people that they might look at and not necessarily see themselves right away, not necessarily see humanity right away. The one thing I really liked about this episode, though, was that it reminded me how years earlier, when I was an undergrad, some of you might know my story if you've watched me for a while. My parents, they are so very proud of me. But my dad had these ambitions for me, right? He wanted me to be Prime Minister of Canada. I kid you not. I grew up with this message. He was very politically aware, politically active. My parents are feminists, so they had this very progressive way of looking at the world, and they really believed in making a change in the world. So I remember that's a message I grew up with as a little girl. I remember arguing with my dad to his amusement about how girls could do anything boys could do. This is the environment I was raised in. And so when it was time for me to do my undergrad, to go to university, I started off by majoring in social justice. And I learned a lot about the different forces and the different systems and structures, including societal structures, that had led me to believe certain things about myself. I made powerful emotional connections to what it was that I was learning. But I remember that about halfway through, I was sitting in a class and we were looking at Hegel and his ideas around what's called zeitgeist. And zeitgeist is this idea of the spirit of a time, that people don't vote according to what's best for them, what they know is probably a good idea, what they know is going to serve them well. They vote according to a spirit of a time. They vote according to the zeitgeist of the moment. And it was in that moment, I remember it so clearly. I was sitting in class and something in me just awakened and said, that's what I want to focus on. That's what I want to learn more about. To me, I understood that as people make political choices based on what's happening in their hearts, based on their emotions. And so it was right around that time that very quickly I switched my major to philosophy. And of course, graduate school was like, it was religious studies officially, but it was cultural cosmology and divination. So it was a lot of looking at how human beings tried to understand the will of the gods or God, and how in the pursuit of omens, it changed their own behavior here on Earth. Fascinating to look at how, from the beginning of history itself, human beings have tried to understand and change their behavior as a result of a particular omen right to the present day. Back in the 90s, I saw this interview with Madonna, right? Goddess Madonna. I love her to this day, I'll be honest. And Madonna was saying that she always wanted to rule the world. And I remember even back in the 90s, when I watched this interview, I thought to myself, well, I don't want to rule the world, but I want to change the world. And my experiences as I grew became about changing hearts, one at a time, and wanting to understand the spirit of a time and affect the spirit to move the collective towards greater love and greater wisdom. Whatever it is that we do to each other and the ways in which human beings collectively, the things that they allow governments to do, the politics that they feel themselves aligned with, these ultimately come from a place of their own hearts. And that comes from a place of humanity. Because as soon as you recognize humanity in another, it changes everything. And this is why soldiers of our time around the world, in many ways, are programmed, just like having that chip in their brain, they are programmed to see certain people as not human, to see them as, well, just like the Black Mirror episode, as roaches. But as soon as that glitch occurs, as soon as they realize that this is a human being, in all honesty, what we see is people and stories of soldiers who can't live with themselves. And this is why we hear stories of soldiers who want to unalive themselves, and soldiers at a much higher rate than other populations actually do. It is because of that glitch that leads them to feel that they can't live with themselves, knowing what they did to another human being. But if they had had that realization before they even went into battle, they would never have gone into battle to begin with. I heard this social theory once that said Barack Obama would not have been possible were it not for Bill Cosby. So let me explain, because we know now that Bill Cosby was evil in his own life, but he put on a good show, right? He was an actor, and his huge contribution was The Cosby Show, which showed a family that was like any other family. And so a lot of people who maybe never had interactions with people of different races, particularly African Americans, but he featured people of different races on that show. It was like they were welcoming him into their home and thereby seeing humanity in someone that they previously thought as very different than themselves. They saw themselves in Bill Cosby. And because of that, it allowed a leap of consciousness, which then allowed themselves to see themselves in Barack Obama. Some of you might remember when 9/11 occurred. It was a big moment that I feel shifted my life. I know a lot of people feel the same way in their own ways. And for me, I remember feeling like, I was a kid at the time. This was before I went to university. I was working at Walmart, and I just never saw any representation of people who were like me, people with names like me, people who looked like me in media outside of Bollywood movies that we would watch as a family. And I remember it just felt like overnight, it was like being invisible to all of a sudden being hyper visible. But there was only one type of representation that was out there. And it was people with names like me on the news for how awful that they were. And I remember promising myself at that time that my name, as it is, similar to those people in the news at that time, my name would come to be associated with love. And as I grew, I understood that to mean love and wisdom as well. And that can mean different things to different people, I know. But I think that for me personally, a part of my contribution, a part of how I might just change the world, is encouraging people who on the surface look very different from me, have different names, different backgrounds from different places in the world, that they might see themselves in me. And in seeing themselves in me, it allows where it most is needed, that glitch to occur, that leap beyond just thinking that certain people are one way and instead realizing that all of us, we really are the same. When it is that we're able to see how the desire for love is in all of us, the desire to belong is in all of us, the desire for safety is in all of us, and we're able to see ourselves in all of us, I think that is when, honestly, I think that's when there'll be peace on earth. There'll be a whole other way of understanding ourselves. And I think that's why, when you think about this idea of the age of Aquarius, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, it is associated with such a time of unity. But when you actually hear the song, The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius, it's a very Piscean song, actually. Peace and love around the world. These are very Piscean concepts. But I think the reason that they've been associated with the sign of Aquarius is because Aquarius is about the collective. And it's about our understanding of which collectives we belong to. And when it is that we understand that there is a larger collective, it's not us versus them. It's not our team and their team. It is all of us together. That is the collective. Then that is the leap that is necessary to allow peace and love around the world. And so it is with this week. Jupiter standing still at the height of his power. In its exaltation sign, even stronger. In its exaltation degree, even stronger. This is Jupiter at the height of its power. And the ancients believed that Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, a water sign, is at the height of his power, a cardinal sign, no less. Cardinal is an energy that starts a season. It's an energy of beginning. And Jupiter here in the middle of Cancer, a water sign of emotion, of ultimately transition, and of understanding our rootedness, understanding family, this planet that represents philosophy and faith. This planet is most strong at the center of the sign of Cancer. And I think that is because at this moment, as part of the collective, but also in general, as part of what we're here to learn, is a sense of knowing that all of us can belong, that we all can be family to each other. I know it doesn't always feel that way, and it is making sense of the world in ways that allow us to keep sane, to make some people right and some people wrong. But if it was a moment like this, a moment when Jupiter is stationary at 15 of Cancer, this is an energy where Jupiter is strong, which means it can be an energy of extremes. And this is where we participate in the unfolding of the universe. And we participate in it by deciding what part of an energy we want to bring forward. And so either this is going to be hyper nationalistic, hyper patriotistic, which means that we are willing to fight to defend land and home and say, no, this is who we are and this is who's ours and this is everything that is not, and that's it. Or we're going to choose to see family in each other. We're going to choose to see ourselves in each other. That can look like a huge divide. But really, all it takes is, I truly believe, just one moment, one person, one instance of connection, of seeing ourselves in another, and allowing someone into our homes, whether that's from the online world, the social media world, or other spaces and places where we might allow information to come into our living spaces, where we otherwise would never have had a chance to be exposed to certain ways of understanding and certain types of people. By being willing to understand, we just might be understood in the process. And my hope is that in this way, Jupiter stationary at 15 of Cancer helps all of us feel like we belong. Because I think that is the thing that's going to allow us to build a world where that really is the case. And that is a world that is a lot more peaceful than the world that we have right now. On Monday, March 9, Mercury will trine Jupiter. This is the second of 3 exact alignments between these two planets, a key characteristic of the larger Mercury retrograde season. Mercury right now is retrograde, and that is why Mercury is making this second alignment. The first one took place on the 16th of February. The next one is going to happen on the 3rd of April. Next week, right around the corner, next week is when Mercury will go direct. So by the time we get to the third one, Mercury will be good and direct by then, wrapping up the shadow as part of wrapping up the larger season. I've been saying to you that I do think that this Mercury retrograde season is set to be incredibly fortunate, where for most of us, it's going to feel as if opportunities that we thought were gone just might come back around even better than they were before. It is now that a lot of us are likely to feel hopeful, and yet there is a need to be mindful and to be a little bit cautious because Mercury is retrograde, which means that the likelihood of us seeing something, particularly something brand new, if it is brand spanking new, if it's not connected to anything from before, well, it's in those situations that it becomes that much more important to be mindful about what the opportunity actually entails, knowing that things just might look different once Mercury goes direct. But these ongoing trines between Mercury and Jupiter do suggest that they just might work out a lot better than we anticipate. Now, the same can be said for people. If you're meeting new people, or maybe there was somebody, you lost touch with them, they come back around now, well, yeah, things might be even better than they were before. But at the same time, sometimes things can look really different when Mercury goes direct. So, I like to say pace yourself and be yourself, but also this is not the energy to make big life-changing decisions. In particular, I will say the earth signs out there, particularly the Taurians, the Virgos, and the Capricorns, for you, this Mercury trine Jupiter is happening in what we call the social houses, which means that it speaks that much more to people that you're meeting right now. If they are new people, once Mercury goes direct, you might see them differently, whatever potential and possibility is there. If these are people who feel like they're reintroducing themselves to you, so they were there, maybe you lost touch, whether in friendship or something more, well, this is where they just might come back around in ways that feel uncanny, that feel surprising, but it is an opportunity to take a step further in terms of your connection with them. Now, if it is, we might as well go through the signs. If it is that you are a water sign, so if you're a Cancer, if you are a Pisces, if you are a Scorpio, these energies are going to feel this energy a lot more personally. You're going to feel this Mercury retrograde, this Mercury trine Jupiter a lot more having to do with personal vision, satisfaction, realization. That is going to be part of what awakens for you at this time. It's your own heart. It's your own mind. It's your own world. The air signs, Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra, this is what we call the work houses. So professional opportunities you thought were gone might come back around, and they're likely to be even better than they were before. If you can help it, it might not be the best time to sign a contract or make a brand new deal if you have a choice. But if you don't, then you have to trust your life. But yeah, that opportunity, the universe is abundant. Some people like to say opportunity only knocks once. That is ridiculous. And a moment like this is what's going to prove how ridiculous that is to the air signs out there. And finally, the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. This Mercury trine Jupiter is going to take place in a psychic house for you, what is called the psychic houses. So this is very private. It's about your own energy, your own sense of what stays, what goes, and how it is that energetically you're going through a transformation or a change. These areas of the chart are decidedly private. So it is the personal realizations you're having, the things that are changing within you in your own space now that are going to show themselves in your life in a real way in the fullness of time. But right now, the changes, the realizations, the good fortune starts in your own world, in your own privacy now. Now, my hope is because this is Mercury in Pisces, which is an energy of closure and compassion, and because it is Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, an energy of home, of foundations, Jupiter, of course, exalted at the 15th degree of Cancer at the height of his power, going direct this week. Well, my hope is that this energy allows us to collectively cultivate a greater feeling of family, a greater feeling of safety and compassion towards each other as well. That is a force of healing that I think the world very likely feels like it is so needed. Whether or not the collective is able to always see that, my hope is that they allow it into our own hearts, into our own collective now, so that things can change for the better. And now, speaking of the energy of Pisces, speaking of Mercury, because as we navigate this week, Mercury is going to begin to slow down in its own right next week, going direct. We have something special taking place this week outside of Jupiter direct. So Jupiter stationary is going to have a lot of us feeling very righteous, a sense of our own right or wrong or morality stirring within us, on the surface within us, which is a very powerful thing. But we have something else taking place that is incredibly powerful in its own right. And that is the fact that we are going to have Mercury slowing down, standing still, technically next week, but slowing down to a standstill, meeting Mars, but also in particular meeting the North Node. This is huge. Both of these planets are going to move over the North Node now. They are so close together. They are essentially sharing energy, and they are on a destiny point. The nodes are so important where it comes to prediction because the nodes represent soul contracts. They represent big turning points where it comes to our collective soul agreements and what it is that we desire to move towards, but also what it is that we have to see that we might need to evolve beyond. When it is the South Node that is activated, that is a more lower vibrational energy, to be honest with you. I discussed this at length in one of my books called The Universe is Wise and Loving, where I explored the nodes of the moon, like just in and of themselves, because that's how important an energy this actually is. The South Node, which the ancients called the dragon's tail, well, the purpose of the tail is to protect the anus. And when the South Node is activated, very often, sometimes, it is a time of purging, a time when we see what really isn't working for us, especially as a collective. Now, in your own chart, in your own life, when it is that a planet is moving over your South Node in your birth chart, that tends to be a time of karmic closures, a time of realizing what is no longer for you and being okay with it as part of aligning with the North Node. And the North Node is all about our journey towards greater love and greater wisdom. The North Node pulls us forward. The North Node is what the ancients called, they likened to the dragon's head. The dragon is a deeply mystical figure, a mythological image that we see represented around the world throughout history. Cultures that had no contact with each other talked about dragons, the feathered serpent, which is a type of dragon. And so the head is represented by an understanding of raising the energies, raising vibrations. The intellect has long been understood as a force of mediation for more primal urges, more immediate urges, thought to be the lower chakras, the lower ways in which we exert ourselves or our power or behave in the world. It is the head, it is the intellect, the dragon's head in particular, that brings forward our best. And so here we are, we have Mars representing power and force, right? And we've got conflict right now, which sometimes can be a part of Mars. Meeting Mercury. Mercury is intellect. Meeting the North Node, which is about raising the vibration of these energies. So much of Piscean energy can be so imaginative that we don't even know what's real anymore. It can be so much about weaving a story, weaving a fantasy as well. And yet there are moments when we're invited to elevate even that, to imagine something better so that we just might manifest it. But when the North Node is activated, it represents new karmic contracts, new agreements, new beginnings. But very often it represents a seed. It is just the beginning that eventually will need time to flesh out more fully so that we're fully able to see what it is that began at this time. Now, I was thinking more deeply about this energy of Pisces in light of the fact that we have this very powerful energy playing out of Mercury, Mars, and the North Node together in the sky. And what is remarkable in understanding this? The energy of Pisces is often associated with fantasy, with illusion, which is why the energy of Pisces is often aligned with industries like Hollywood and film and photography. But Pisces is also considered an energy of healing and is one of the important energies that represent those who work in healing. So for those who work in healing, whether it is energetic or faith healing or doctors and nurses, there are different ways to understand archetypally those roles. So there's the Virgo way, which has to do with healthcare and the ins and outs, the skills that you need to actually do those types of jobs. And then there's the sign of Scorpio, which often speaks to things like surgery, right? Being able to really get in there, to be effective, to be strategic, to eliminate what isn't working. And then we have Pisces. And Pisces is about faith and hope. And yeah, Pisces is very much an energy of healing. And I was thinking about, why is that? Why is it that Pisces is an energy of psychic phenomenon, of magic, of illusion, but also of healing and of hospitals? And I think that's because there's an understanding on a very deep level, an archetypal level at that, that healing is a kind of magic. I would also go so far as to say, as a lot of us out there might have had health challenges at different times, our bodies really are a miracle. It is incredible how our bodies are able to heal sometimes. And those people who've overcome health challenges can tell you how incredible our bodies actually are, how restorative, how much they're able to repair themselves. It is a wonder. And I think that that's part of why the energy of Pisces is one of those energies strongly associated with those who work in healing professions, including doctors, including nurses, those people who are part of medical establishment as well. There's so much emphasis that is placed, especially in New Age circles, on alternative healing modalities, powerful in their own right. But there are times when, boy, isn't it wonderful that there are hospitals? Isn't it wonderful that people understand biology and chemicals and chemistry and all those things that we think of as establishment? That is a magic and a blessing of its own, especially when it is that we truly need it. And so it becomes possible now that we might find ourselves sort of approaching new horizons where it comes to things like what's happening medically, what's happening in the healthcare fields, and also what's happening in holistic healthcare fields as well might be part of the developments in conversation. This is also an energy that has to do with faith and how faith can be elevated so that it serves as a healing balm. And that could be just about the highest expression of this energy at this time, an expression that the collective very likely needs so much, could nourish the collective so much in ways that many might not realize until it arrives. And this just might be an important energy in helping resolution to be found as well, where it is that we might need it most. Venus is active this week as well, making key alignments with Saturn and Pluto. Whenever Venus meets Saturn, which happens once a year typically, that represents a reality check moment in the context of love. And depending how far off fantasy is from reality, speaks to how much of a reality check it ends up feeling, how jarring it ends up feeling. But regardless of how this is experienced by you or others out there, the great thing is that we do get this supportive energy from Pluto. And that encourages us to make choices, to understand the deeper truths, and to understand what it is that we might want to do as a result of what it is that we are coming to realize. And so it is going to be on Sunday, right out of the gate, that Venus will meet Saturn in the sky. And then that sextile to Pluto, it is already operational by the time we get to this conjunction. We're coming off of that Neptune Venus conjunction of late last week, which was so dreamy, which was so fantastical. And now it's like being woken up, but it is necessary, because then as we move forward on Tuesday is when Venus will sextile Pluto, and that'll help us to see the truth in a way that empowers us to make a decision, to make a choice as to where we are in love, how we feel about it, what's really going on in the context of love, and what we are really wanting. Is it that our current circumstances meet what it is that we actually want? What is the turning point moment? What is the choice? What is the decision moment here? Even with Mercury retrograde, even with Jupiter station, standing still in the sky at the same time. At the same time, Venus representing our desires, our money, our heart, in a sense. Although it is said that the moon is very often more strongly associated with love. But the moon moves really fast, which I think says a lot astrologically about how sometimes even love can feel very changeable. But Saturn really is not. And so Venus meeting Saturn, whenever it is that Saturn is activated, it asks us, can I do this for the rest of my life? And with Venus meeting Saturn, it is a choice very likely rooted in love or money or pleasure. Is this actually working for us? Can we keep going on this way for the rest of our lives or not? And regardless of what answer we find, we're making strategic choices. We're understanding the deeper truths with that sextile to Pluto that helps us to understand what choice rooted in a deeper truth we might feel ready to make now. Yes, I'm going to repeat, Mercury is retrograde, which means that certain things look a certain way, but they might end up being different. However, Venus is in a whole other part of the sky than Mercury right now. And as long as we allow ourselves grace and we allow ourselves some room, we'll be able to accept some truth now and also strive to understand more deeply, more intellectually. That's accessing the mercurial energy of this time, but allowing ourselves enough space to know there is a deeper truth that is still, as part of the mystery, being revealed. What our own hearts are truly wanting. And especially where it is perhaps that we haven't been very conscious. So for example, attraction to certain people. Why do we want who we want? Why are we attracted to what we are, whom it is we are, and what are we actually getting out of it? And where it is perhaps that we're telling ourselves we want one thing, but the reality is different. And where it is we're making excuses, where it is that fantasy is coming into play, well, Venus meeting Saturn gets us so honest that that just isn't going to work for us anymore. And that's actually a place of empowerment. Being honest with ourselves of where actual pleasure will be found, where love actually will be found, sometimes comes from realizing where it will not be found. And in understanding where it will not, we open ourselves to a deeper understanding, a higher understanding of what's actually going to satisfy us. Where love, where pleasure, where joy, where prosperity is actually going to be found in ways that feel that much more meaningful, with that much more depth. And it is there that we just might find our hearts that much more satisfied. Sometimes it starts by realizing where our hearts are not satisfied, so that we make those changes, so that we find that resolve within ourselves that aligns us with a direction where we do end up finding the fulfillment we seek. If Venus meeting Saturn is anything, it is consequential. It is a turning point moment. It is a moment when we look at what we desire and whom we desire much more practically, much more honestly. And from there, things can't help but be different because we are different. Our hearts are different. And in being more honest with ourselves, we just might find ourselves aligning with a love that's a lot more honest as well. What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say I love Jupiter direct. I think it is the star of the show energy right now. This is a very big deal of an energy. And Jupiter stands still, goes direct once a year. And whenever it does, it always represents a moment of truth. But very often it is our own truth, a subjective truth about our relationship to the world, about what we actually believe philosophically, politically, or otherwise. And very often it is also rooted in an understanding of what meaningful healing and meaningful luck mean to us. Our answers might be uniquely our own, but with Jupiter standing still and going direct in the sign of Cancer, at the height of his power, in the sign it most loves to be in, at the degree it most loves to be in, all of that adds up to a big moment that just might change us in ways that last for a very long time and just might change the world as well. And where it is that we are able to recognize those Cancerian truths of the world being home, of humanity being where it is that we might find solace and comfort. Well, that is when Jupiter ends up unleashing its highest potential of hope, of healing, of possibility, and true luck, real joy. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys, and to prove it to you, here's some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded exclusive video scopes each and every week for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University is proud to present You Are Legend, unleashing the myth of your own life. We've got workshop series that's going to start this week, but also an upcoming workshop series as well. Well, what's coming up this week is the fire sign. So we are going to start looking at Aries this week, and then we're going to look at Leo, and we're going to look at Sagittarius. These are brand new mythologies that I have not shared anywhere else before. We're going to dive into the symbolism of the sign. And even though this workshop series focuses on sun sign, once you understand the deeper root of and the deeper energetic truth of each and every sign, you're able to take that understanding and apply it to just about any planet in your chart. And so if you're only into sun sign astrology, this is great for you. If you're a more advanced student, this is great for you as well. I really hope that you will join us. And just recently, I did launch the next workshop series that is going to be coming up in May. But right now you can choose your own rate as part of signing up for this workshop series, as low as just $25 for all 3 classes. We're going to look at the water signs in May: Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. If you are any of these signs, your sun sign, you'll be able to tap into the wisdom of this. Again, all new mythologies that I have never shared anywhere before is what we're going to be exploring here. I do think that there is so much depth and nuance to understanding the sun. The sun represents whom you are becoming in this lifetime, but it's also about the characteristics you bring forward where you feel like, I really like myself when I'm like this. I really like who I'm growing into. I really like how I shine. I feel bright. I feel light. I feel like people see things in me that make me feel good about myself when I act like the sign of my sun. And that is the higher intention of these workshop series, is to help you to get to that place of understanding the deeper myth of each sign so that you understand how you are right now living out that myth. You are living these mythologies in real time. And when you understand what the myth of your life is, you're able to access its higher vibration to make sure that you are consciously moving towards that very sense of becoming the very best of you and what helps you to feel like you are at the very best of you. So you can learn a lot more about this series and you can sign up now only at synchronicityuniversity.com, links below. Synchronicity University is proud to present the incredible programs we have underway right now. Yes, right now in the month of March, we've got some huge events taking place where it comes to our classes at Synchronicity University. Earlier today, as I'm recording this, we did have the incredible Gemini Brett, one of our most popular teachers, and he is teaching on sacred geometry. So now you can sign up for single classes over at synchronicityuniversity.com with him. And we have started an incredible series of speakers. So our speaker series for March, we've got big dogs and superstars underway. Earlier today, it was Jill Loftus of Nui Astrology. We are also going to have the one and only Hannah Tanajura and Alex Ruiz, both people you've seen on my channel before. We've got big dog tarot and magic superstar Melissa Sanova, author of the series of kitchen table books, including Kitchen Table Magic and Kitchen Table Tarot. She's going to be teaching a class, and we've got a living legend. We are so very fortunate to have the one and only Stephen Forrest, who is part of the speaker series as well. Stephen Forrest is going to be live in real time teaching online at Synchronicity University. We are so fortunate. So I'm so excited about this group of astrologers. Like I said, living legends, big dogs, and superstar astrologers as part of the March 2026 speaker series. Right now, you can sign up for single classes. All those links are below. And a very limited number of consultations are now available with me and my friend Andy of Wise Ass Astrology over on my website, nadiyashah.com/consultations. Those links are below. It's an automated process. You go there, you see our schedules, you choose whom you want, you choose the time slot you want, you fill out a form. After you make payment, you are automatically sent a Zoom link. So it's super streamlined and you can confirm your consultation date right now. So there are a very limited number of consultations available with each of us, but I know right now for me, I have a few slots left for late March and the middle of April, and that's it for now. But more dates might open up later on this year. I will always keep you guys posted on that, and the same is true for Andy of Wise Astrology as well. So you can learn a lot more about consultations, and you can book yours now over on my website, nadiyashah.com, links below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust. I'm so grateful for it. Stay tuned right now for more horoscopes. Yes, the short horoscopes are coming up right now. I'm so grateful for you. I did share a little earlier about something that's in my heart and something that I think I have touched on before, but I just wanted to be really a lot more clear on it, that my intention with my content is always to be part of putting love and wisdom into the world, but also helping the collective to move towards greater love and greater wisdom. And my hope is that I'm doing that in my own unique way, and we all have our ways of doing it. So lots of love and respect to whatever way you go about doing that. But I thank you so much for your trust. And I hope that you always see that in all of my work. My highest intention is always to do just that. Be part of helping the collective move towards greater love and greater wisdom as well. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy. Jupiter is a planet that is often associated with luck, big luck. And why wouldn't it be? It is the biggest of the major planets in the zodiac. It is bright in the cosmos, undeniable in its presence. And when it is standing still in the sky, like Jupiter is right now, well, he is closer to the Earth than he might otherwise be and heightened in his significance. It is going to be this Tuesday, March the 10th, that Jupiter standing still in the sky will officially begin to go forward. Whenever it is that a planet is changing directions, that is when it makes itself known more than just about any other time. Its symbolism is magnified, and Jupiter's symbolism, while it is of luck, we don't always know what is actually a lucky break. And sometimes if we're lucky, we see it in hindsight. But this isn't an ordinary Jupiter stationary direct, but Jupiter is standing still in the sign of Cancer, where the ancients believed that Jupiter was what they called exalted. It is the sign that it most loves to be in. But not only that, of all the zodiac, the 360 degrees in the sky, it is the 15th degree of Cancer that represents the single degree that Jupiter most loves to be in. And that's exactly where Jupiter is going direct now. Regardless of how it looks on the surface, whether it looks like it's luck or not, I am telling you what is happening right now is good. For the highest good of all concerned, certainly, but good for us in our own individual journeys. Now, sometimes what's good is the endings. Some situation comes to a close, or we make a choice that it is only going to be years from now we realize set the stage for even bigger blessings to follow. Even if it feels hard in the moment, it is going to be that we ultimately do come to see how our great fortune was in our own choices, what stayed, what left, and where there was some karmic cleansing playing out. That is the power of the energy right now. But Jupiter is also philosophical, as much as it is about the collective and what we believe and how our beliefs can be manipulated to suit some higher aims. At the same time, Jupiter is hope. Jupiter is optimism. And Jupiter is an energy that says belief, philosophical belief, and the things that help us to make sense of the world and guide our life. Those subjective truths, well, we are going to feel very connected to them. They're going to feel very on the surface, which means that as we are moving through our lives, we just might surprise ourselves by whom it is, especially where it is we ourselves find ourselves feeling and looking at things very philosophically and getting in touch with our own personal truth. The key to this time is don't take anything personally. Like, that's a good rule to follow in general, but especially at a time like this, whatever other people are doing, it is so important to stay focused on self. Stay focused on an understanding of who you are and what it is that you are understanding to be true about you. That really is where the power is. And with Jupiter, that's also where massive blessings can find us now. Now, how Jupiter going direct speaks to you and your sign depends on your sun, moon, and rising. Take all three into consideration, synthesize the information, and make it unique to you. But there's lots more horoscopes available right now over on my YouTube channel, Nadiya_Shah. In fact, the monthly horoscopes for this month, I dived in deep to Jupiter direct for each and every sign. So check that out. And of course, lots more horoscopes available right now in the superstar space, exclusive, expanded horoscopes for as low as just $3 a month at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links below. Aries, home, the past, your living situation, your family of origin, your parents in particular, where that applies. Lots of good news is likely on that front. Where you'd been hoping for a burst of healing related to a family member, you just might get that now. But if you've been looking to buy, sell, move, or attract a new roommate, that just might be there available to you, or you might see your living situation differently in a way that's a lot more hopeful. Do be mindful, Mercury is retrograde, and so you might not want to sign contracts right about now, but where you are open to feeling more at home, especially right where you are, that's where the blessings magnify that much more. Taurus, siblings, cousins, neighbors. It is these people that hold good fortune in their hands for you now. And sometimes it is that they help facilitate a larger blessing in your life. Sometimes your relationship with them improves with Jupiter direct here. But at other times, it's just that great things are happening in their life and you are really happy for them. It can feel a little bit like, wow, that was a long time coming, but I'm so happy for you, whether or not it affects you directly. For all of that, though, I would also say this part of the sky has to do with communication, messages of all kinds. And this is where a letter, an email, or a call comes through now that represents really positive developments, whether it is healing energy rushing in or good news all around personally or professionally. Better is entering your life. Gemini, money you earn, money you spend, self-love and self-esteem are covered here. So this is great for money coming in, right? That's a wonderful thing. If you've been hoping for positive financial growth or more opportunity, this can indicate that very step in a direction that you deem to be very positive. Now, this could also be greater spending as well, but it looks like it would be rooted in you feeling very generous, you feeling like you have it, you enjoying the money that you have. So just know that more spending is very possible now, but it's more about enjoying the money that you have. Healthy self-love, healthy self-esteem is magnified under this energy where you needed to see yourself more lovingly. Well, that burst of healing that comes in is likely to stay with you for a long time to come. Cancer, identity, who you know yourself to be, what matters to you most and first. This is big, bold energy. This is a redefinition of self, but this is also your more philosophical self coming right to the surface. If anybody out there is likely to feel downright lucky, it is likely going to be you. But sometimes the greatest luck is just looking at yourself differently, more expansively than ever before. Sometimes the greater luck is believing in yourself. And you believing in yourself now can have you making great gains. Welcome in new experiences, especially those with the promise of redefining you, because they will do so in the best possible sense. Leo, soul, psyche, spirit, and karmic blessings. Fortunate karmic closures. That's what we have here. Think about all those times when something really difficult ended, some person who just, it wasn't somebody you wanted to keep in your life, they left. That's the kind of energy we have here. It is fortunate karmic closures at that can take place now. Outside of that, though, this is about the best stuff just finding you, seeming to come out of nowhere based on the goodwill you've already sown and what other people are doing on your behalf without you necessarily knowing about it. That's where the greater blessings are set to be reaped now. So this is great news overall. This is about you strengthening faith. That can go a very long way towards helping you to feel better and helping you to welcome in better as well. Virgo, friendships, group alliances, and you feeling as if you have found your crew, spending time with people who matter to you. That's the kind of energy we have here. You attending social events, being around other people is what allows more or better to enter your life. And there very likely just might be bigger opportunities than you've ever known before, but they are going to be rooted in who you know, not necessarily what you know. It is other people now that can facilitate those big breaks in your life, but it might also be just deeper, more rewarding and meaningful friendships that find you now. Either way, this is an energy of blessing. Libra, career, social standing, and life purpose is highlighted with Jupiter going direct. For some, it's going to be very practical. Career blessings. If you are having an interview or audition situation, it goes even better than you anticipated. And this can also be a sense of promotions or you moving onward and upward, becoming more visible, maybe gaining recognition. But for others, this is going to be a lot more personal. related to your own understanding of your purpose, your own understanding of what a higher, more loving vision for your life looks like, or the goals that you have for your life next. All of these areas have blessing, have purpose highlighted that much more, and a philosophical sense of what gives your life that much more energy and that much more impetus to keep going onward and upward. Scorpio, long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, and legal matters are covered here. All these areas get a big burst of blessing. If any of these areas have felt ongoing, if there's been an issue there that you've been trying to resolve, Jupiter going direct now is going to help you in that immensely. Outside of that, though, more personally, this is about awakening some philosophical part of you, helping you to understand your place in the world differently, more expansively. It allows you to feel more as if the world opens to you. Opportunities from abroad or with people from abroad is part of what opens up more prosperity or maybe more personal happiness now. Sagittarius, profound change, truth, transformation, regeneration, and wealth. So this is really great for attracting large sums of money. Now, some of that might be benefits you qualify for, or a scholarship, for example. For others still, it might just be a higher limit on your credit card or a loan coming through. So just be mindful. This might be more, for some, it might be a commission payment finally coming through, but for others, it might be like the opportunity to incur more debt. So it's up to you to decide how to use this energy. But look, outside of that, this is a profoundly healing part of the sky because it helps you to understand what stays, what goes, and what your truth is. When you know your truth, that is a position of great power. And speaking of power, this part of the sky has to do with power itself, how you understand it, how you wield it. And you just might be making a power move that actually has this cosmic support to work out wonderfully so. Capricorn, love, partnerships of all kinds is covered here. If anybody out there is likely to feel like the winds of love are so much on your side, this really is it. For some, it's going to be a fortunate ending. Someone that you don't need to be in love with, partnered with, they are going to exit now. And it really is a blessing, even if it takes you a moment of adjustment. Outside of that, though, this could absolutely be somebody new coming in. At the very least, this energy is going to help you to understand where you are in love, how you feel about it, and what it is that you are ready to shift within you to align with love meaningful to you and greater love than you've known before. Aquarius, this has to do with your daily life, including your health as well. So you can see how Jupiter going forward, being so fortunate, could represent really good news on the health front. It could have you feeling better very quickly based on making a few small adjustments now. Maybe just adding a supplement or adjusting your medications now could make a huge difference. Now, outside of that, though, this can be wonderful where it comes to those of you who are on the work track. So clients, customers, coworkers can bring in great blessings. This can be a time of increase of opportunity and activity in the workplace. Now, this might also be just feeling more useful as you move through your days. It's the small moments now with the greatest power and the greatest purpose. Pisces, romance, flirtation, what the heart wants in every area of life. I would not be surprised if a flirtation took you by surprise and serves as a force of healing for you. Now, regardless of where it does or doesn't go, that's kind of missing the point. It's about you connecting to the things you desire in your life and seeing yourself more lovingly. Creative fulfillment is covered here, and this could represent great news related to a child in your life or a child that you want. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.